Okay, 皆さん workshop time. So first of all, you can use the QR code to scan this slide, or you can use the short Google URL to reach this document. So the URL is drhopp.gl, big J, big F, 6, big Q, small w, big A. You can access this slide. So all the information and all the step-by-step documentation is in the slide. And all the documentation I put in the GitHub. So no worry, if you have this QR code and you have this URL, you can access it. Okay? Okay. Let's start. So, introduce myself. I'm the drhopp and the openSUSE.Asia member, and now promotion first. So, actually in Taiwan we have a workshop every month from last year August until now. So we have a 14 months to continue to have workshop every month with the local group. So we have many topics with for example with the Docker, Ansible, Ceph, and others different workshop. So that's our Facebook with the Taiwan openSUSE users group, okay, and the Docker Taipei, because I also is the mentor of the Docker, okay. But that is not the point. That is not the point. Okay. So first of all, I want to introduce what is openSUSE project. So openSUSE project is make everyone to make a usable and user-friendly Linux distribution. So what's the feature? So if you want to, or if you already use the openSUSE or not use the SUSE, I want to introduce 3 features for you that's very important. One is for the YAST. So if you have YAST, you have a wiser to do anything. And all of you want to do is to click next. So you can use the YAST to create a DHCP server or a firewall in 5 minutes, even the nodules. And 2 is OBS. OBS is called an open build service. That means you can put your source code to the cloud, and you can to pack it to the many distributions. For example, openSUSE, Slack, CentOS, and Ubuntu, and other distributions. So for the openSUSE users, they always do that. They use the software.opensuse.org/such any program they want to install, and just one click install. So they can install the 1, you can install package, 2, you can install repository. So you are not just install the binary, you are install the repository. That means when this binary, when this package upgrade, they will notice, hey, this program can be upgraded. So keep you safety. Okay? So 3 is openSUSE Tumbleweed. So Tumbleweed, I think this morning Richard already told us. So Tumbleweed is for the loading update distribution. So that means you always keep very new. And sometimes you will have some risk because the package is too new. Okay? So for me, in my office, I use Leaf. But in some test machine, I use the Tumbleweed. Okay? Okay, so today's agenda. So first I will introduce what is Docker and how to install Docker. And we will practice some Docker-based command and to run the Docker container and to build a Docker image. And most of you, I want to ask a question first. Do you know we have a YAST Docker module? That means we have a GUI, graphical user interface, with the Docker. Wow, it will be more convenient. So in the SUSE or openSUSE, we have a Docker module. That means you can use the TUI or GUI tool to manage your Docker image. it will be more convenient. Okay, if we have time. So introduce Docker. So what is Docker? Docker is the container. So what is a container? So you might be know that is a virtualized. We call it a virtualized. But sometimes I want to back this slide. Okay. Okay. If you see some company they have very good environment, or you see some paper that has a very interesting environment, and you want to copy it back to your school or your unit, what do? In a passion, just go move his machine, or use the ghost to copy the machine, right? If you only have a physical machine, okay. So when we have a virtual machine, you will say, hey, this package, this environment is very interesting. So could you copy your virtual machine to me? So question one, how about the size with the virtual machine? If we want to copy a virtual machine, how about the size? Maybe 8 gigabyte, 10 gigabyte, right? Yeah, okay. So question two, if you are running enable virtual machine, how many times and how many memory you must use? I mean, if you open the virtual machine, for example, Windows XP, Windows 10, Windows 7, when you open the power and you can start to use, maybe 3 minutes, 5 minutes, right? Okay. So if you use the Docker, so what is Docker? I always like to say, Docker is the lightweight virtualized, but virtual machine virtualize the whole machine. So I always call to my students say, Docker is virtualized what? Virtualized application. They don't virtualize all of things. They don't virtualize hardware or something else. They only virtualize the application environment. So that means what? That means if you open the Docker, you open a container, just 1 second or 2 seconds. How many memory they will use? If you open a virtual machine, if you open a Windows machine, you might be use the 200 megabytes or more. But if you use the Docker, you only use how many usage you really use. For example, 5 or 10 megabytes, even less. Okay? So one question is, oh, this application is very interesting. Can you give me? If you use Docker, very easy. They are Docker hub, so you can get them from the internet. Just one command, Docker pull something. But if you don't trust anyone, right? You don't trust anyone. Just tell them, give me a Docker file. Docker file is an ASCII2 file. It's a text file. It's only 1K or 2K. Very small. Even can mail to you. So you can use this Docker file to build yourself in your environment. And in the Docker file, every step you change is a layer, different layer. So in the Docker file, you can see what will be changed in every step. So you can see very clearly. So now I think it's time for Docker. Why? Because you will know Linux use Docker and VMware use Docker, right? VMware have a Python platform, Phantom platform, and they have VIC. VMware infrastructure with container. Microsoft use Docker. Microsoft use the two kinds of Docker. One with the Hyper-V. Yeah. One use they use the embedded Linux like Alpha Linux or Ubuntu to use the Docker, right? So Linux use Docker, Windows use Docker, and the viewer use Docker. So you will say the main vendor they use Docker. And you can create a Docker cluster and you can give them some tag. That means what? That means you can use Docker in different distribution and code Docker in the right node. For example, I want to code a Docker in Linux. Oh, one thing I want to say, if you use Docker because they are virtualized for the application, so they use the kernel at the same machine. That means what? That means if you use Windows, you only can use the Windows container. If you use Linux, you can use the Linux container. Okay? Because they use the same kernel with the machine. So you will see that why there are two Docker in the Windows. One is Hyper-V to run the Windows container. One is use the Linux and use that Linux to use the container. So they can use first. But it's okay. So what is container? The same, yeah. So the container they share the same OS kernel, and they just isolate the environment. That is a very, very interesting point. That means if you use the virtual machine, how is the rate to the physical machine to the virtual machine to the best policy? If you want physical machine, sometimes they will tell, the maximum you might be used 2 or 3 virtual machine, right? Then you will be, if you use 4 or above, they will be overcommit. But if you use the Docker, they just use, for example, 10 megabyte or 20 megabyte for the memory. So the ratio will be more, even 1:5 or 1:10. But remember, it's easy to make you overcommit. Please be careful. Okay. So what is the Docker feature? One is very lightweight. 2 is very fast. When you enable a Docker, just a few seconds, 1 second, 2 seconds, it's very fast. And you can deploy and scale very easy because you can deploy and use the same Docker container in different platforms. And you just use the same command. Okay? And okay, we'll go later. So I want to explain some keyword for the Docker base. One is image. What is the Docker image? So Docker image is the template. It's the read-only template to run the Docker container. So we have a template. We use this template to copy, to fork a container to run. So container, the difference with the container and the image is the image is read-only, but the container you run, they have a layer for writable. So you will use the image to copy out to a container to run. So what is registry? Registry is a place, a placeholder to put your image. So they have 2 kinds of registry. One is for public. We call it drhopp. Yeah, you will say, oh, how about Docker Cloud or Docker Store? Basically, they are the same, just different function. So Docker Cloud and Docker Cloud have more function with the drhopp, but they use the same registry. Docker Store, you can upload your Docker image to sell or to buy some Docker image in Docker Store. And for the private registry, one is for Docker registry, is the container too. But the good point is the Docker. The bad point is only a registry. So if you send some API, so okay, get my image, it will say okay, no problem. But no application and no user management. So there is a plan, it called the portals. We have an Indonesia friend just introduced this project, and this project is awesome. So how about portals? Portals is a GUI interface to the Docker registry. They can give a GUI user interface. They can give someone or some group application. And it's easy to install with the container or a physical machine. Very friendly and easy project, but not in this workshop. So Docker architecture, Docker use the client and server side, okay, but you can put the client and server at the same machine. So if someone say, okay, Docker run some container, he will send an API to the host. Oh, I want to run openSUSE. So if this machine they don't have an openSUSE image, they will to call the registry. I want to openSUSE image, and from the registry to download to the local. Okay. On the other hand, you can create your image in your local and push it to the different registry. But I think that for the personal usage, we don't really need a private registry. So you want to do something with company, you might be need a private registry. Okay. There are some fight and argument this year about Docker. Why? Because I think Docker might got some money from the United States or from the Microsoft or anything else. So they decide to become two versions. One is for the enterprise version, one is for the community version. But I think the difference is for the enterprise support. And they have a certificate for the Docker. Okay? So you will see there's a basic that there's a SUSE Enterprise for the Enterprise Edition. But the SUSE guys, they are compiling some Docker version with the community edition. Okay. But for the personal use, I think community edition is okay to use. So that's one is for community edition or enterprise edition. The difference is from the enterprise support. And this week or last week, the Docker announced they start to support Kubernetes, another cluster management tool. Okay, but I love the Docker Swarm because it's simple. So we can start to hands on. So how are you to know if you are installed Docker or not? The simple way is okay. If you type Docker images and there are something show up in your display, congratulations, you have a Docker. But if there is no information there, you can go to this link. So if you have Windows, there's a Docker for Windows, but we suggest you must have a Windows 10 Pro and your platform is for the CT4 platform, not for the all platforms. And for the Mac, you might be suggest for the 10.10.3, and you can have some Docker support more optimized. Yeah. So if you use Linux, just install with your package manager. For example, apt, for example, Zyper, or for example, the other ones. Okay. But today, we don't need to install it. Okay. Why? Everyone, this is the most important point. So there is a project, it's called PWD. So if you're in the internet and you search, that is a very awesome project. We call it PWD. If you search the PWD and the GitHub, no, this one. Yeah, this one. This project is awesome. There is a GitHub project called the Play with Docker. You can use this project to your own machine to create like this one. There is a Docker playground. So if you just type the play-with-docker.com, you will go to this place. And just make sure you are not a robot. Yes. So this website is built in the United States. So their bandwidth is the speed is very high. And you will see you can use the 4 hours for free. And you can create many instances. So everyone please go to the playwithdocker.com. Okay, so you will see you can add new instance here. So in this web page you can create, for example, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 instances in the web in these 4 hours. And after the 4 hours, open the new browser, you will get a new one. Okay? And if you are very interested for how to learn the Docker, yeah, there is a link I already give to you. It's the Play with the Docker classroom. So you are a beginner, you want to know what is hardware, how to use the first Linux container, how to build a swarm. You are the intermediate, you are the advanced. You want to know how to use the Java, how to use the Windows Docker. Yeah, here it is. So we can practice this at your home. And there will be some instruction in the left, and you can type some Docker command in the right. And you can adjust the monitor. Yeah, very easy and very helpful. Okay. So first one, everyone, please make sure you have this environment. Okay. And let's hands-on. Let's hands-on. Okay. So the first lab, we want to help you to work together. How to download the Docker images. And there's a link here, right? We can click it. So all the workshop, all the documentation, I already put it in the GitHub, so you can very easy to download and fork them. And I know some of you like writing the notes, right? So in my GitHub, there's one folder. We call it My Map. So do everyone know what is a mind map means? I'll show you. Okay. This is my habit. When I start to learn something, yeah, I will writing for the mind map format. Okay. So for the mind map, if you like to have a mind map, I suggest to use the free mind. But sorry for the Chinese. Yeah. So okay. So I already do some information. If you want to do the darker, wrong, and which option you can use, and what's that mean, and maybe there are some example there. Okay, but again, sorry for Chinese. Okay. So there is the GitHub. Okay, so first of all, you can open this PDF. So, okay, you can download it. So that is very simple. Okay. You might be confused like this. You can put my PDF here. So you can put the environment here. Yeah, because we are workshop, right? So my suggestion is like this one. Okay. So first, how do we check the data images? So you can just write down. You can press the alter, A-L-T, alter, enter. You will master the command line in the browser. Very convenient. Okay. So if you want to check your Docker image, just use a Docker image. But in the first one, you will say there's nothing here, right? So if I want to get some Docker image, let's do the easy one. So if I want to get a Docker image, I can use a Docker pool, and you just type his name. For example, a BD box. They will download from the internet. Okay? But how do we know we are good or we are finishing? So just use the Docker images. So you will see there is a busy box. And how about the size? 1 megabyte. Very small, right? So the easy way is we can use a Docker pool and pull something. We can do it at the same time. So we can use the Docker images to check you already download the Docker images. Easy, right? Okay. So you are doing about how to get the Docker image, right? But another question is, so what could I do if I'm using a Docker? Right. Okay. So the same, you can click link. I already do something here. So if you click link, you will connect in the Docker Hub. So just like a Google, okay? You can easily to search, for example. you will see some Nagios container. Nagios is the application to monitor the printer, server, or some node. For example, yeah, you will see there are many containers here. So question will be, which one is the best container? So there are 2 points. One, to see its option. Okay. Two, to see how many download, how many cores they have. The biggest one is the popular one. Okay. So we can try to search the SUSE. And when you click the SUSE, you will see what? Okay, you will see there will be some information there. Okay, please see the morning. Here you can see some tag. 22.2, 22.3, and lead our latest. There's some tag here. Okay, so that means you can use the container and order the version. Oh, I want to run the openSUSE 24.2, openSUSE 24.3. I want to use the openSUSE, for example, 12.2, 12.3. Why? Because your application, your library might be limited with some library, for example, GDK or some special version for this application. So maybe someone always say, why I use the virtual machine? Why I use the container? Because my new ERP application, they don't support the new one for the 24.3. The library is too new, so you use the 24.2 or maybe older version. And for the container, so the first one you can use the drhopp to search, and the second one you can use the Docker command to search. So let's do it. You will find the Docker image. So point is, what's the difference if you use the web or if you use the command line? There's some issue, there's some suggestion with the Docker command. So if you use the web or use the command, what's the difference? Yeah, easy. If you use the Docker search openSUSE, do you see the tag? No. We can see the tag, just use the Docker search some image name. You will say, but I really want to know how many tags or what tag in the web. Refer to all of you, they use wget and filter them, okay? I think there will be a future function, they might be put there, because they say this responsibility is not from Docker, it's from the distribution, okay? And don't worry and don't need to write it, because I already tell you in the documentation. Okay? So one more question before we start to practice. Why we use Docker? Why we use Docker? Very simple. If your product manager say, how many working hours, how many working days, if I want to web, if I want to test something, if you want to give them, for example, FTP, File Transfer Protocol Service server, If we want to get a web server, how many times you need if you use a virtual machine? Maybe hour, maybe day, maybe 1 week, right? But if you use a Docker, I could tell you, I can make it in 5 minutes. Just Docker pull some image. Docker run, we will do that today. Docker run some image. Ready. That's the reason. That's the reason we start to use Docker, because we can to freeze some statement, or we can do some service with the Docker. So you might be hear a keyword with the serverless, right? So if you use the Docker or some technique very optimized, you might be know. For now, all the machine, all the service are online. They are physical or virtual machine. But if you use Docker for optimize, there might be a chance to do that. What? There's only 2 machines alive. Which 2 machines? One is for the portal. The portal side to accept the user request. For example, the user says, hey, I want to analyze big data. So they send a request here. And this portal, they to combine many physical nodes, and they give them the container to analyze. So when they analyze finish, they put the export to the result to the file server or your data server. So if you optimize with the Docker or some serverless service, there's only 2 nodes keep alive. So the other node do what? Stand by to code. So the good point is they can share all the resources. If you have experience to use the virtual machine, you will know that. You will know. They will tell you, oh, if you use a virtual machine, so what? So you can combine many computing resources. But actually, you will know this physical machine is 1 machine. This physical machine is 2 VM. This is 3. But they will not balance, right? But if you Docker, it will be very easy to do that. Okay? So let's hands on. So please. So the second one, we use the Docker pool openSUSE. The point is, we don't assign the tag. So if you see all the Docker, you will see here. If you put something but without the tag, there will be lesson. There will be a new one. Lesson. So Docker pool, openSUSE, and 42.3. Very fast. Why? Could anyone tell me what happened? So for the Docker image, we don't care about name because we care about the ID. So you will see the 24.3 and the latest, their image ID are the same. Okay? Just to know the ID. So why I say the name is not important? That is very simple, because you will build yourself container, and name is not very important, because when you get everything ready, you will change the name. That means you will change the tag and push it to your company or push to your Docker hub. So you have no worry about that. Name is not important. Okay? Okay. So this is our first hands-on, our first step to how to download a Docker image. So we use a Docker pool to download image. We use a Docker images to check how many images you have, right? So if we want to find something we want to do, we use the Docker search to search some keyword, and they will list. Okay? No problem? Okay, it's because it's simple, right? We can connect. Okay, here we have some question. So why I use Docker? Because my company provides some service, right? Because I want to do something, not just pull and pray. No. It's impossible. So we have imagined that you have a service in your company in the intranet, right? But you have a customer, they want to access and modify them. So how should you do? In normal situation, you will get a new VM, new machine, new web, new point to listen, right? And it becomes the gateway to access the intranet. You think about that. If you want to provide some FTP service, some portal service to access the SSH, do you really want to use it with the virtual machine? Why? Because the different customer, you will give them different service and different port. And each time when you create this service, you will spend, for example, 2 hours or 3 hours. If you use this one, you might be just need 5 minutes because you have one template. Just forget, just run it, right? That's the benefit to use the Docker. So, you're saying, please go to the GitHub and download this PDF, or you can use the web. Okay, our second lab is how to create your Docker image. There's 2 methods we want to practice. One is we are to edit the current image. So before we do that, please type Docker PS.
So neighbors.
Okay, that's it. Let me explain it. So if you are typing the Docker PS, I always say it's like the process status. If you type a Docker PS, okay, Docker PS will show what is running container now. If you type a Docker PS -A, it will show the all container, even they are not running. They are stopped, okay? So how to start container? Everyone please do the Docker drop. You must think, oh, it's amazing. Just 1 second, we are in the bash. Right? You start a container very fast, right? So for this command, we have some options here. Docker run is for execution a container. It's okay. What is -rm? Rm that means remove. Remove means if you to exist container, they will delete container. Okay? And -I and -t, that means I will keep input and I want to have terminal. So imagine them and what do you want to execution? So I ask them to execution a binary bash. I want to share them. Okay, so if you run that, you can see you are already in the container, so you can try echo. You will see this host name is like some ID here. And you can exist. When you exist, just try Docker PS. And Docker PS. You will see there will be delete. Question. If you want to run the Docker, do you run the Docker with the remove -rm or not? If you want to run a container, what would you do? With the remove or without the remove? Okay, the one point is this Docker machine is shared with your carriage or not. If there's 3 person using the same power machine, they use the Docker, right? And all of you do some research and get interrupted. Why? Because you want to have a dinner and do something. When you come back, what container did I do? The last container. Because we don't order the name, right? When we are testing, we will not order a name. So for myself, if I only want to test some application, I will use the -rm. I will remove it when I exit. Because we have a keyword they call it Dockerize. Dockerize means there is an application in physical machine, but you do it with the Docker way. So you will keep some testing. Okay? So sometimes I don't want to see when I get into a machine, when I call a Docker PS or Docker PSA, there will be 20 or 30 stop container. You don't know how to clean it because you are not sure which one or who make this. So for the test purpose, I will use the remove option. But please, this time, please run a Docker without RM. So do you see something different? If we don't use the remove, when you type the Docker ps-a, you will see there's a container sleeping there. It's good. That means what? You can use the Docker start to restart them. Okay? But the main point is, if you don't use the remove, that means what? That means he will use some storage disk space in your machine. We just tell everyone the Docker they share the same kernel in this machine, right? So basically by default, the Docker they will use in different operation system, they will use the different folder, different directory. Maybe in the Linux they will use the var library, Docker, and some text. But how about this? If you have a project, there's two teams want to manage a Docker, but you don't want them to touch the same folder. What can you do? We can use the two Docker and to mount the same wallet in this local system. Over this local system, remote. So we can Docker drhopp HV wallet to order the folder you want to mount. So this local folder will be mounted to the folder you order paste in this container. Wow, it's great. So that means what? In the data center, we always say there will be 3 tiers, right? The computing power, the storage, the application. Right? That means what? When the server fails, it doesn't matter because the data still exists. Right? So the same, you can use this one in the Docker. So you can use the different containers, but to mount the same data. That means you don't need to worry about this container die. If container die, we always say it doesn't matter. Just start a new one. But you could do the Docker with the cluster, and you can order the replication. For example, okay, this container must have a 3 replication. That means if this node for the web service is down, there will be a new one. Okay. And their data will be the same, so you don't need to worry about that. That's the use case 1. Use case 2 is how about use the Docker? Does anybody know the JMeter program? No? Really? JMeter. So what is JMeter? JMeter is a simulation. They can simulation the browser. They can simulation the active client. They can simulate it to some browser actives to test your browser pressure. For example, you can start the JMeter. You can emulation the 10,000 HTTP requests to some website. And we use I use Docker to do that. What's the benefit if I use this one? So I can create a Docker cluster. This Docker cluster will have different IP address, public, and in the different physical machine. So I can start them 10, 20, 30 in very short time and to pressure my website to know what is the limitation for my website pressures. and for the easy way. To think about it, if you want to do this with the 10 machine or 20 machine at the same time, you might be spending more time, more difficult, right? But in Docker, just one command, and they will distribute to your cluster. And you can destroy very fast. Docker stop, Docker command. Okay. Okay. And sorry, I already want to share my users case with the Docker. So my domain is for the information technology. So we have a co-work with some doctors. So their domain for the healthy, for example, CT, they do some CT emulation. So if you have some friend in the university, they want to do some, for example, CT emulation, but they are not in the IT. They don't know about more with IT. So they have a question because for example, there's an open source they call the GET. GET is the open source simulation for the CT, but they don't know this simulation application only run with the one CPU code. They don't know run with the multi-thread. So with Docker, what can we do? I can use the physical machine. They have an A code, but I can use the A Docker container do this at the same time. Even this application only support one thread or two threads. I can split it in one machine, or I can split it in a multi machine. But I don't need to touch their domain. Okay? I can easily to distribute the task. Okay. Okay. If you have question, just interrupt me. Okay. I can listen some Japanese and I speak a little. 日本語は喋るのはちょっと大丈夫です。Okay? Okay, so we try to enable Docker drhopp. This time, please don't use the remove because we want to create an image with purpose, right? Remember, we want to do a gateway, okay, to the intranet. We want to make some purpose for our company, right? So we can use the remove because we will base on it to build a new one, right? Okay. So we start the container and we do the check. So we want to this container have the security share function. But there's no SSH server, right? Check one time. There's only library SSH, right? Okay, so because we use the openSUSE. So just do it with the library. Dash and means don't ask me. No inaction.
I didn't have a chance to.
So this one is the same when you use the physical machine, virtual machine, right? Install something. Install what package you really want to do.
Yeah, US.
Okay. So we can check again. Check again for what? We already have openSUSE package, right? So it's very easy. Just to exist.
I don't like this.
Yeah, because last time when we executed, we have no remove, right? So you will keep it in the computer. So just type the docker ESHA. Okay, you will see there is one container, right? So it's like just like the Git. Okay, it'll be very easy. You just type docker commit. I want to build a new one. Why? Who? Okay, their name. Okay, their repository, their name and their tag. Really? How to make sure? So very easy. You will see here. We have a test image. Ready? So we can do that. Do what? If you type a docker you will see this image you commit already have this package. That means you must do with the Docker. Why? With Docker, you can save your time. Because you do this one to save to commit to image. Next time just call it. Okay, FTP. Okay, SSH. Okay, where? And open the port. And when the project finish, okay, Docker stop. Okay, Docker RM. Okay, finish. So that's the reason I will put my time with the Docker. Because to think about it, in the physical machine, in the real environment, you always do the same thing too. Okay, create an operation system, add a package, run it in default, right? And if you do this one, you want to share with your colleague. It's not easy to share and do the same, right? And you say, VirtualBox. I don't know about that. I only know the VMware. The VMware. I don't know. I just know the KVM. Right? But now with the Windows, Linux, and VMware, they have Docker. And they use the same command to do that. Very easy. And you can put in the drhopp and then they just pull. Just like I told to the professor in the university. Professor, please use this command and your environment will be good. Because we save their time. The doctors they do the simulation for the CT. They always first they got the source code and do the compiler with the binary download to a local. But in this case, professor, that's easy, please. Yeah. It's okay. So any question for now? Maybe not, right? Okay. So the second one. Now the first one measure we use the Docker commit to do that. Right? The second one we can use the Docker file. We can use the Docker file to do that. Okay, the same. We have documentation on the internet.
Kita tabrok.
Because you will not over the 30 minutes. Okay, so how about to create new Docker image with the Docker file? To check which working directory you have. So now we are in the root, right? Yes. And why we create this directory? So if you do the Docker build, they will put everything in that directory. So I have one time I used the Docker build, but the directory have the DVDIC. It will spend you a very long time. So you want to do Docker build, I suggest you must have the empty folder. That will be more good. You will make sure everything is clean. Okay? So please. And the simple way is okay, this Docker file only 3 lines. Okay, one is from which base image we use. 2, who is the maintainer? 3, run. What do you want to do in the container? But these 3 steps is the same for the next step, right? So one is from openSUSE 24.3. 2, maintainer. Who is the maintainer? 3, run. What do you do? Okay. Okay, and next one. Dash T is tag. And don't forget the text. So we use the data. It means the current working directory.
이쪽에서若い子たちにとって若い子たち学生なんですよ。学生土曜日で終わった
And you can see it do the same thing when you in the data.
平日は
Just tell them which best image. Okay. How do we do it?
若い子たちに若い子の同じ同級生同級生に言って 逆じゃないですか、学生がもう学生の時に男性で履歴書に書いてますけど、そうじゃない
So how do we make sure? So question, which one would you use to view the dark image? Use the Docker file or to commit the Docker image? I think the best policy is you should use the Docker file. Yeah, it's easy to share and everyone know what did you do. Okay? Okay, the final lab. Okay, so how do we to manage the image? Very simple. And you will see the second one. And you will see the Docker image ID is the same. Okay. So how about to remove the image? If you try to use the Docker IMI to remove image, for example, BD files, will be removed. It's clear. If you want to use the Docker remove something, right? But if you do the Docker remove image, what did I do? Could I use this one? Yes or no? I repeat my question. if I start, it works or not?
だからなんか PDF として
Yes. Why? Because there is a two ID user, two name user same ID, and that is the been deleted. So check again. Yeah, openSUSE. That is gone. That is 42.3, right?
IoT とかなんか 外気温を取り
Was or not?
データとしてセンサーのデータとして取り込んで、例え
No.
ばこう太陽光だったり、
Why?
そういうのを全部これ作るんですよ。
Because there are some container stop and use this image,
先
right?
生がラズベリーパイ
We say the container is to use the image to copy to fork. So how do we delete that? Okay,
まあなんか
very easy. So you can use.
いりますね。
時間
You can use the Docker
つける時間が
RS what to who to the for example 671. Okay. But you have a question, one question. Ah. So it's pen. If I want to delete a container one by one, it must be pen, right? So if you write a Docker PS -A and do it as HA and HAQ. What do you see? If you add a Q, it only show the container identifier number, right? So that was a very dangerous command. Think before you go. They will delete all container, delete all container, delete all container. Very dangerous. Okay? Don't do that if you really want to know. So you can show Docker, RM, and we use the Docker GS. Everyone, it's very dangerous. Okay? All the container will be deleted. No matter how many 50, hundreds, thousand will delete just one second. Don't do that, okay? So you can try the Docker. Bye-bye. Yeah, because that is my final lab. So in this lab, we know how to write a Docker file, how to use the Docker build to build image, how to use the Docker tag to tag your image, how to use the Docker IMI to remove your image, how to use the Docker RM to remove your container. Okay? Reference. So if you want to learn some Docker, I have read some Docker book, but I recommend for O'Reilly, there's the Docker cookbook. It's good to learn. And there's some blog, but sorry for the Chinese. This one is my personal blog. This link is the Docker tag. So you will see. I will do the drhopp with the openSUSE lib with the Docker. So how to do that? Okay. Here. And this is my GitHub for the Docker. And this is my Docker hub. And you will see there's some SSH daemon. There's a drhopp. Do anyone know the Jupyter? Yeah, Jupyter is a very good thing to do anything. Okay, and there's the openSUSE and the get is a simulation and other ones. Okay, there's also a Spark here. How to do Spark, the big data analysis container here. Okay, and to finally to show here. In my blog, do you see there is a tag here? Automate build. The Docker can combine the Git. So when you commit, they can trigger to Docker build. So if you are running some Docker file with the new function, just git commit, and your image will also build. Okay. Hey. Let's find out. Any question? If there are no question, I leave this. So all the information, in this slide, including all the documentations, all the files in the GitHub. So all you have to do is to remember the link drhopp.gl, big update, up F, 6, up Q, W, up A. You'll get everything. Okay, thank you for coming. I know the very fast.